I met Aaron when we had just stepped into our 30s, two people full of dreams and hopes, still searching for our paths in life. Aaron was unlike anyone I had ever met. He had a calm demeanor, bright eyes, and a smile that always carried a hint of wit. Once he told me, "I don't need to talk much, as long as you talk enough for both of us." And truly, I talk a lot. Our relationship was like a freshly baked apple pie, warm, sweet, and full of surprises. Aaron knew how to make me laugh, even in the toughest times. Once, when I complained about work, he simply looked at me and said, "You know, if that job annoys you this much, maybe it's scared of you too." We got married in a small, cozy ceremony in the village where he grew up. Aaron baked the apple pie for the wedding himself, and it quickly became a symbol of our love, simple, genuine, but always heartwarming. The early years of our marriage passed like a dream. Aaron wasn't just my husband. He was my teammate in all of life's challenges. But like all stories, life wasn't always as sweet as apple pie. Over time, the pressures of work began to pull us apart. I threw myself into my career, while Aaron spent more time in his woodworking shop, where he found joy in crafting small wooden items. For a while, I felt lost. Conversations became fewer, and the quiet evenings grew heavy. Instead of expressing my feelings, I sought attention elsewhere. And that's when I met Jonathan, a co-worker who always said exactly what I wanted to hear. However, I soon realized that Jonathan's compliments were like frosting on an unsweetened cake. When Aaron discovered the truth, he didn't yell or blame me. He just looked at me, quietly, as he always had. "I think I need some time," he said, his voice calm but not cold. "I want you to find yourself again, just as I will." After Aaron left, I began to face myself. I sought therapy, learned to bake, and even took a woodworking class to understand more about the things he loved. 5 years later, I heard that Aaron had found someone new, a woman with striking red hair. I cried, but not out of jealousy. I cried because I knew he deserved that happiness. One day, I ran into Aaron at a small cafe. He was sitting with a book and a cup of black coffee. When I approached, he smiled, the same smile, gentle and kind. "Hi," he said. "Hi," I replied, feeling a surprising sense of ease. We sat down and talked like old friends. And as I stood up to leave, Aaron looked at me and said, "Clara, I've always wished for you to find happiness, wherever that may be." For the first time in years, my heart felt light, because I realized that sometimes forgiveness isn't something we seek from others. It's something we need to learn to give ourselves. 2 years after our brief meeting at the cafe, I received a letter. Not an email or a text, but a handwritten letter in Aaron's familiar handwriting. "Clara, Emily is hosting her 20th wedding anniversary party. She hopes you'll attend. I would love it if you came if you feel comfortable. I hope we can all enjoy the evening without the weight of the past." Aaron, I sat holding the letter, caught in a swirl of conflicting emotions. Was this an offering of forgiveness? Or was it simply Aaron being polite? After several nights of pondering, I decided to go. The party was held in a small garden, with paper lanterns hanging and soft jazz music filling the air, adding to the cozy atmosphere. As I stepped into the garden, I immediately spotted Aaron. He still looked elegant and polished, chatting with a few old friends. Standing next to him was a woman with red hair, Sophie. I tried to blend in at the party, but unconsciously, my gaze kept drifting to Aaron. When Sophie stepped away to greet others, I felt his eyes on me. My heart sank. "Hello, Clara." I turned, startled, and saw Aaron standing right behind me. He was holding 2 glasses of wine and handed one to me. "Hi, Aaron," I said, trying to sound as calm as possible. We stood side by side, gazing at the lanterns floating in the sky. An awkward, yet heavy silence passed between us. "How have you been?" Aaron broke the silence and asked. I nodded and carefully returned the question. "And you?" He took a sip of his wine and smiled. "I'm doing well. Sophie is really something special." My heart ached slightly, but I forced a smile and replied, "She seems wonderful, and she clearly loves you very much." Aaron nodded, but a sadness flashed in his eyes that I couldn't quite understand. "She brought me the peace I had been searching for." I felt tears welling up, but managed to hold them back. "Aaron," I whispered with a trembling voice, I'm truly sorry for what I did. Words can't express how much I regret it. He looked at me. The coldness from the past had faded from his eyes, but complete forgiveness was not there. Clara, you don't need to apologize anymore. That's in the past. But what I think you really need isn't my forgiveness. You need to forgive yourself. His words resonated deeply within me. Finally, the tears flowed. Aaron didn't comfort me or offer any words of reassurance. He simply stood quietly, allowing me to face the pain I had been suppressing. Clara, he continued softly, life isn't always easy, but it has to go on. I hope you find what you've always been searching for. It's not in someone else's attention, but it's something you have to find within yourself. Aaron's words weren't complete forgiveness, but it felt like a door to light had opened. He gently placed a hand on my shoulder and gave it a light squeeze before turning back toward Sophie. I stood there, watching his retreating figure. For the first time in years, I felt something lighten within me. It wasn't because I had regained Aaron's love, but because I realized that my journey to love myself had truly begun.